Welcome back to Flick Favorites. I'm going to explain an action, thriller film from 2010, titled, The Tourist. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. The movie begins in the beautiful city of Paris. The French police, working with Scotland Yard, are following a woman named Elise. They are continually monitoring her, watching for any unusual behavior. A mailman approaches her while she waits for her lunch in a cafe and offers her a letter. Since the approaching man is not part of her typical routine, Scotland Yard is now on high alert. As soon as he steps outside the cafe, they arrest him. However, the letter is actually from a former lover named Alexander Pierce, who gives clear instructions to take a train to Venice, hunt for a man who resembles him, and persuade the authorities that this man is Alexander Pierce. Elise also seems to be being watched by an unidentified someone who is not a member of the law enforcement. Elise throws the message into the flames before setting off for the railway station. Following her is the French police, acting on orders from Scotland Yard. Elise deftly positions herself to board the train as the last passenger, leaving the following cops outside. They are looking into the mailman they detained back at Scotland Yard. The inspector in charge of the operation entrusted with identifying Alexander Pierce believes that Pierce underwent plastic surgery and that he is the mailman who was detained. His commander-in-chief, on the other hand, disagrees and makes fun of him for catching the incorrect guy. He continues by saying that this operation had cost the department more than Pierce had really taken. Therefore, continuing the operation was not practical. Elise is looking for a man with his height and physique so that Scotland Yard would believe it is him after plastic surgery as suggested by Pierce's letter. Elise finds a seat next to American tourist Frank, who is reading an espionage novel, after pacing about for a while. As soon as he sets eyes on her, Frank is enamored. After an amusing conversation between the two, Elise agrees to eat supper with Frank. On the train, the two people have supper. Scotland Yard has located them and is eating supper with them at the same cabin. They snap Frank's picture while mistaking him for Pierce and give the station copies of his face. They cancel the procedure after discovering that it was a hoax and that Frank is a completely different person. Elise offers Frank a ride on a boat to Hotel Danieli when the train reaches Venice. They check into a lavish suite that Pierce has planned. Before the hotel workers, Elise refers to Frank as her spouse. They get ready and then head out to supper. Here, Elise reveals her feelings for another guy, much to Frank's dismay. They never stop bringing up Elise's past partner. They return to the motel later. Elise allegedly has a ball invitation waiting for her from her beau. This dampens Frank's spirits. The guys pursuing her watch as she and Frank have a kiss on the balcony of her room after he compliments her. To Frank's great astonishment, they both sleep apart. He spends the entire night daydreaming about Elise until being awakened the next morning by the waitress preparing breakfast. Elise is nowhere to be seen when he arrives to check on her. Men suddenly try to enter the motel room. It perplexes Frank that they refer to him as Alexander. Frank recognizes the danger he is in when the men reveal they are armed and hastily locks himself in the restroom. He then flees via the bathroom window while being pursued by the guys. Frank escapes by sprinting across multiple roofs, but Italian police catch up with him. Frank claims that he has no clue why these people are pursuing him and that he believes they are mistaking him for the man Elise is in love with. The Italian police first believe that he is lying to them in order to get away with attacking a police officer. They imprison him. The Italian policeman rescues Frank from jail, however, and tells him that his story is accurate and that the men pursuing him are Belarusians who have set a bounty on his head and think he is someone else. In contrast, the detective gives Frank over to the same individuals so they may get the promised money. Frank is now aware of the risk he is facing. Elise, who appears out of nowhere with a boat to help Frank, is spotted by him, and the two set out together. They dodge in and out of Venice as the guys begin firing at them. Elise finally escapes after a protracted pursuit in which the guys nearly succeed in catching her. Frank queries her as to the reason for everything after they are no longer under danger. In response, Elise claims that everything is happening because she kissed him and led the police to believe he was Alexander Pierce. Pierce is wanted by the British authorities for tax fraud as well as allegedly stealing $2 billion from Shaw, a felon. Shaw is a terrible guy who once assassinated his wife's former lovers and then killed her wife when he realized she had too many. Elise responds that it's simply how Pierce is when Frank questions her about why she's taking on a man like him. Nobody frightens him. Frank claims he has no remorse for kissing Elise despite being shocked by the discovery. Elise gets Frank off the boat after apologizing for engaging him in the first place. Elise responds that they may have been together in another universe when Frank confesses his love for her. Frank watches as she sails off. After saying goodbye to Frank, Elise stops by a government building. She receives a letter from the same unidentified Parisian man. She may locate Pierce at the address provided in the letter, which is from him. Frank interrupts Elise as she is ready to go to find the person who sent her the letter because she thinks it could have been Pierce. He came here out of love, and he wouldn't let her leave. They rise and begin to dance. Frank is informed by Elise that he is really a pawn in this entire scheme, despite the fact that she likes him. He served a purpose and is no longer needed. Frank, though, is adamant nonetheless. Frank is taken by Agent Atchison's men while Elise looks for Pierce. They take Frank into custody, and after toying with him for a bit, let him know that he is to stay in custody until this whole operation is over. Elise later takes a boat to the place specified in the letter. Atchison keeps a tight eye on her. She comes to a stop and gets off the boat. She unwittingly walks into a trap that mobster Shaw has devised. Shaw begins to approach Elise while Atchison and his crew watch on a live stream. He assures her that he will execute any thief. Shaw said that Pierce was a talented young man, and that when he stole from him, he also took his soul. To get it back now, he would stop at nothing. He threatens to murder her if she doesn't reveal the location of the safe containing the money Pierce stole from him. Elise responds that she is unsure of the whereabouts of the money. She is physically attacked by Shaw, but she does not move. The Russian being spoken is translated by Atchison's interpreter. If Pierce does not arrive, the interpreter claims that Shaw and his group want to murder Elise. Agent Atchison has snipers on Shaw, but he doesn't use them because he thinks Pierce will save Shaw when he gets there. Elise, in a state of desperation, tells Shaw where the safe is as he is ready to kill her. Shaw discovers that the safe needs a code when he opens the door. Elise is asked, but she is unable to provide the code. Frank watches in fear as Elise is once more put in danger. Frank cracks the lock on Atchison's shackles and escapes to help Elise when he realizes that he won't be able to save her. Atchison feels let down. Frank then courageously plays Pierce. Elise begs him to stop so she may murder him. Shaw is told by Frank, who is pretending to be Pierce, that if Elise is freed and secure first, he will receive his money. Shaw is first perplexed since Pierce did not act at all like Frank. He nonetheless requests that Frank open the safe so that he may demonstrate his identity as Pierce. Elise would die if he didn't take this action. Elise adds, "I love you," as Frank appears to be preparing to open the safe. Chief Inspector Jones instructs the police snipers to shoot Shaw before Frank could finish writing the code for the safe. Frank and Elise manage to flee unharmed while the snipers fire at Shaw and his men right away. As the police survey the situation, Agent Atchison can't believe Pierce didn't save Elise. Jones informs Elise that her suspension has been removed and her employment has been terminated with immediate effect after becoming enraged with him for placing her in risk. Atchison gets a call informing him that Pierce has now been captured. As the space empties, Elise and Frank hug. Both of them experience an emotional moment. He asks whether she feels the same way about him and Pierce. Yes, says Elise. Frank responds that he might know how to help her. To Elise's shock and in a fairly surprising turn of events, Frank enters the right code for the safe to demonstrate his identity as the real Alexander Pierce. In order to begin a new life, Pierce received cosmetic surgery. In the meantime, the man who is thought to be Pierce claims to be only a tourist and that he was paid to pose as Pierce. He has been getting texts from an enigmatic sender offering to pay him to perform his chores. Atchison is left speechless. They walk back to the safe, where after bursting it open, they find a banker's check for £744 million, which is how much Pierce owes in unpaid taxes to the British government. Jones gave Atchison the order to stop the procedure when it was returned. According to Atchison, Pierce was still wanted abroad. Jones responds that there was no use in keeping looking for him because the person he had stolen from, Shaw, had already passed away. With the money, Elise and Frank board a boat and are at last together. With plans for a future together, they set sail towards the far-off rivers. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay updated on future videos. Leave a like to support the channel.